Hey, welcome back to the channel. All right, it's time for the penultimate, I hate using that word, it's the second to last video in the top 10 series for June, the top 10 of every class. We will be going over today. Of course, the honorable mention, I will go through them very quickly. I don't want these videos to take too long. And then of course, the top 16 through 30. This game is so huge that even just being in the honorable mention for the top 30 in this game means you are insanely powerful, okay? If you really feel like, dude, you missed one, probably in the top 15, okay? I'm not gonna be too exhausted, because like I said, I don't want this to take too long. And what I'm gonna do for this is I'm going to say is like, do I, one like key fact, hopefully it's something you know, or why they're here. And then two, do I think they're gonna be here in December? Because I do this every September and December. Remember, this is just my own personal opinion. And then the full general tier list we've been doing every single month will be out on Saturday, actually the day after the big sale, the 4th of July sale, the summer sale goes live. For honorable mention, we've got Adam Warlock, Carolina Dean, who I actually think will probably be on here. I think as we get more skilled in playing her, I think that's gonna be a big deal. I talk about her quite a bit at length in the general tier list because we talk about every new champion. So you want to make sure you tune on that for my full thoughts. And so kind of just like, hey, you, my viewers, I'm looking out for you. Be aware of this thing, okay? Dark Phoenix, I think there's a chance she's moved up. She does seem very powerful and modern on the cosmic side. I'm looking at my list. Venom, and some of you are gonna be like, dude, Venom, like, so it's weird that some people seem to love Venom, and I think maybe overrate him, and some people seem to literally hate him, as I found out in my top 10 cosmic video. And I'm, as usual, in these things, somewhere right in the middle. I do recognize he lacks a lot of utility. I also recognize if they bleed, he will destroy them. I think a big difference, and we've talked about this for years now, I believe it's years, is the Venom Relic. If you have the Venom Relic, it's gonna make a massive difference. I don't think he's gonna be on here. I don't see him becoming more meta relevant, okay? Guardian, who if you've seen my Guardian video, you're like, dude, how do you know I'm in the top 30? And I will say this is one of the things what happens when you record a series of videos over the course of a month, and this has happened to me before, is I wanted to stay true to my class rankings. I didn't want to just totally change them on you. And I meant what I said in that video, my top 10 tech. Guardian, though, I do think has an argument to be in this top 30, and depending on what nodes and defenders come out the rest of the year, he may be in the top 30 in December. He was in the top 30 in December, and then I went and tested more. I apologize, I've already forgotten the name. There's so many comments, and I do enjoy reading the comments, but you pointed out, like, hey, maybe check him out, and I was kind of aware that he could do all the champions he could do, but my goodness gracious, the meta defenders he just handles. And I don't mean like, oh, he's good for them. I mean like, he just dominates. It's wild. So we're just gonna have to keep an eye on him. He is amazing. And I know a lot of you guys tell like when people didn't really watch the video, they'll be like, they'll ask a question that you directly answered at some point in the video. Is like, no, he does not need to be SIG 200 for it. I literally say in the video, I think mine is SIG 100. All right, so we'll keep moving on. Red Skull, who's phenomenal. Stark Spider-Man, amazing. Jean Grey, I do think Jean Grey might be on this list in December, okay? She's just so new. Weapon X, I don't think so. Okoye, if Kabam will leave her alone, maybe. The Overseer, again, I talk about him at length in the tier list. I just recorded it, so I'm going on vacation, so I'm recording a lot of videos early. Luke Cage, I don't think will be on the list. Spider-Woman, I think will probably be on the way people talk about her, like her. Dual threat, that sort of thing, which is really popular. I value my dual threats for Battlegrounds as well. Spider-Ham, I've come to understand that I rate him a bit lower than a lot of the other YouTubers. I think that's because I don't focus on Battlegrounds nearly as strongly. I enjoy Battlegrounds. I like Battlegrounds. I usually end up in Mysterium or Quantum. I'm pretty competitive in it. But I focus on a lot of other areas of the game as well too, because I want to give you a really well-rounded experience. He's phenomenal. Just being in the top 30, I think it's arguable that people think he's one of the best science champions in the game. I think that's very reasonable. Werewolf by Night, as the game continues to ask for more hard counters, I think he suffers a little bit despite being an amazing champion, one of my favorites, but I gotta recognize things. And then White Tiger, it's weird for me to not have her on the top 30 when it's my own personal list and I enjoy her so much. But when you see her on the list, I think you'll understand the logic on why she's not and why I also think she could be in the top 30 and why she might be one of my first strength 4s. Although, if you've seen my videos on her, you know that I actually purposely don't rank her early because she punches up so stupidly well in this game. And if you don't know what I mean by punches up, that means, you know, I was using a rank 2 to take out rank 3 serpents just fine. I was using my rank 3 to take out rank 4 serpents just fine. I think it's because she has some furies and the way she works, that she's one of these champions that punches up exceptionally well, kind of similar to my thoughts on Crossbones and why I think Crossbones is the best skill champion in the game right now. But I've left mine at rank 3 and promoted some other ones first to rank 4. All right, we'll quickly talk about the 6-star lock champions that I feel would be in the 16 through 30 category, or at least in the honorable mentions. I feel very confident in that. They are going to be Doom, Archangel, Kitty, or Ghost. If you didn't hear your favorite 6-star's name, that means they might be in that top 15. We'll talk about them then. Again, it's always really hard to prognosticate exactly where they're going to be, having been through this process multiple times, doing the monthly tier list, and then having new 7-stars come into the game. It's not until we really get to test them that we truly know the power, because 7-stars are just built so differently. All right, we will start off. This is cool. This is cool. With the number 30 champion. I absolutely love this champion. I have called them the savior of this class multiple times. I do mean it. Phenomenal, amazing. The Undermine is the most easily accessible Undermine, in my opinion, in the whole game. Campo has shown Scream's Undermine being amazing. Campo's a phenomenal player. But this is about Vox and the ability to even do the big damage off the SP3 as we saw in Wheel of Fate. Despite Vox being number 30, I think unless there are big developments in the Cosmic class over the latter half of this year, Vox will still be here when we do this in December. Coming in at 29, and you can kind of see this happens a lot. There's a lot of groupings of classes, and it has to, well, you'll see how this works out. None of them Medusa, right? Medusa, I told you in the video that I would want her at Sig 1. Medusa is one of those champions where she hits so hard, and I mean that more in like the slang term. Yes, she also hits very hard in the game, gets the bleeds, gets armor rate going. She hits incredibly hard. But I mean, she hits me, and I talked about this, like this testosterone feel. I'm just attacking and slicing and dicing, and she's got the auto block, which is really helpful too. So it like even more allows you to just go in and attack. Here's the irony: despite her being more highly rated, is I think she's more likely to fall out of the top 30 than Vox, because Cosmic seems to do what she does as a class. They gain buffs, they get the True Strike or what have you. They often armor break, and then they do their big damage. And she just happens to be one of the best at it, right? And she's also good to threaten Battlegrounds, where Vox is insanely unique, and why I called him the savior, right? He's placing debuffs, and they're damaging debuffs. That's, I mean, I'm looking at Venom, right? But he's very specifically bleed. And I look at the rest of this list, and I'm not really seeing that. I guess Deathless Thanos now. But Vox, Medusa, I hope you understand how I'm kind of seeing them different, despite thinking right now Medusa is more highly rated. She's a more blunt force, powerful force, in my opinion. Moving on to the next one is Null, who you can see I have at rank 2, I believe, because my Null is only rank 20. I talked about him at length as well. I think as the player base has gotten better at playing the game over the years, we've gotten better at playing him well. And a lot of that's due to his mediums. I think it's his medium, his heavy, and his SP1 having a different power, basically, abilities than his lights and his SP2. Yeah. And so I think we just had to get better as players. Also, you know, 7-stars came out and 6-stars were so rare, and he does not need it. I want to be abundantly clear, okay? For this first time hearing this, he doesn't need his awakened ability to be good. He does need a high sig to be powerful as a dual threat in Battlegrounds. Those are different things, okay? Make sure you understand where the YouTuber's talking about how good Null is, because they might tell you he's not good if he's not awakened or a high sig, but I think what they probably mean, and you can ask them, I don't know exactly what they mean, is that they mean in reference to Battlegrounds only. And around here, you know, you could do great things with Null and questing without him even awakened. Then the next one we'll move on is we're moving on to a different class now. We'll be moving on to Hood. Hood kind of snuck in at the bottom of the top tier of the Mystic class. He is amazing, and he's so unique in that class with the access to the Fate Seal and the Stagger. I showed the video on him. He's one of the few champions that I am counting him with a synergy, right? In Battlegrounds, you don't really need the synergy. You're not going to run out of bullets. But the synergy with Count Nefaria for questing, war, those sorts of things where you can bring it in. And the way I look at it, and the reason why I'm allowing the synergy for this, is Nefaria is so stupidly good. Like, you don't feel bad bringing him along, right? Like, who's ever like, oh man, then I had to bring around Count Nefaria. Cabana's put out so many Mystics since like the middle of last year that there is a chance Hood falls out of this. I don't think they're going to put Stagger and Fate Cell on another champion though for a long time. Watch, they're literally going to do it next month. Now that I say that, and if they do, we'll reevaluate. But the Hood is just phenomenal. I think he's here. I think he's here in December. Moving on to the number 26 champion is none other than Dust. And Dust is, I talk about her at length in the general tier list. I do think she's going to be here. I do think she's going to be here, and I think she's going to be solidly here. Because she's more than the sum of her parts, right? It's the totality of her. I think it was Dean who had a lot of fun with that line. Is, you know, triple immunities, damage source that literally no one is immune to. Her whole thing is when a skilled champion or a champion basically purifies her debuffs, she turns them into the passives. Well, she can do that on her own. It's kind of like a Kushala-esque mechanic. I really, really love that. She's a menace on defense. It's so easy for Kabam to like amp up her power level on defense through various Battlegrounds metas. I think she's going to be here for a long time. I think she's phenomenal and very unique again in the mutant class, which is something that, like, as you can see a common theme here. We talk about that. When I see a new ability come up, my eyes are open and I'm paying a little bit more attention for these things. Moving on to number 25, well, none other than Silk in the science class. I don't think she's going anywhere. Crazy stuff happens. I punch it. She's phenomenal. She's amazing. I get why y'all love her. She is, in my opinion, a little outshined by the next champion, but that's okay. That's okay, right? Incoming ruptures and slows suffer 90% duration. As if we start seeing more like rupture lanes and things like that, this will obviously up her value. You don't necessarily need her awaken, but I do like the slows. We sometimes see Rintros in places like that. She's a great champion. I don't think we're going anywhere with her not in the next 6 months. I think she'll probably be on here in December. Moving on to number 24 is a science nuke who I personally feel is a little more reliable, a little bit better. They both often are wanting to stun and things like that. I guess Silk does get around it maybe slightly easier. Also, there's not that many 7-star Red Guardians going along, as he was one of those trophy champions. I just happen to love him, and so I went out and got him. But if you're familiar, you know I've changed my stance on these things because I didn't realize Kabam was going to do it like every single month. And what was come up with on one of my live streams, because the viewers were like, dude, you really should claim him. Like, come on, we get your point and we appreciate it, but like, you know, go ahead and claim them and then just don't rank them or use them until Kabam says when they're coming to a crystal that everyone can get. And I was like, okay, that I'll do that. That makes sense. That's a really good idea. And that's what I'll be doing moving forward. I don't think Red Guardian's necessarily going to fall out. It's just if very few people are able to have him, it'll be hard for people to understand how good he is. And so we might have to make up some like new category for him or something like that. But he's amazing. And I've done an Unawakened showcase too for folks as well. So moving on to number 23 is, again, another champion that's incredibly unique in their class. I'm going to stop pointing out how important that is. I think you guys are just going to kind of see it and understand. None other than Shathra. And I know a lot of, like, especially your Battlegrounds players right now are like, no way. And I get that. But again, remember, this is about questing like the tough stuff that Kabam could throw at us, does throw at us, defenders, nodes, that sort of thing. And then Battlegrounds. And War is a bit of a tiebreaker. She's amazing, guys. Like, I have her as the number 23 champion in the game. That is phenomenal. You don't even need her awaken. For her, it's that whole power steal, and it goes like to what I was saying about Dust. It's like no one's immune to what she does. No one's immune to dust and sand. No one is immune to bugs in this game yet. I wish MCoC was immune to bugs, though. Yeah, I heard that one coming out before I even said it. Moving on to number 22, and you can see we're in a bit of a mutant run here, or Mystic, is none other than Juggernaut. He's just ridiculous. He's ridiculous. You get to your special 2, you throw it, things die. You obviously want the 10 Unstoppables. I actually like mine Awaken because I do like the Nullify for a lot of questions and things like that. Great in Battlegrounds. He's not too hard for Kabam to shut off though, right? Any meta that's placing the non-damaging debuff on him kind of shuts him off. But outside of that, he is one of the best Battlegrounds attackers, creating openings with his counterpunch. Like that's just amazing stuff, right? Moving on to the number 21 champion is none other than Dazzler. I have mine at a high sig because her pursuit passive is really, really good. I do wish it was more than the 9.2. I think it gets up to full 10 seconds at sig level 200. But I know strongly she's one of those champions where you can play her relatively basically and get phenomenal results. But if you play her amazingly, you're going to get like incredible results. And I look forward to doing that one day. I'll continue to put out videos and shorts on her. A lot of you have been enjoying those so far. She's immune to bad vibes and also nullify. Again, incredibly unique in her class. A nullify immune mutant, which is a big deal from her buff she gets on her special too. But then she ends them herself to kind of help her out against Mystic Dispersion and PvP modes. I would want her awakened because that's what helps her out with the physical damage back as skill champions. And as you can see, I obviously believe she is worthy of SIGs if you enjoy playing her, because I took her up and I don't think she's going anywhere. I don't think she's going anywhere at all. Moving on to the number 20 champion in the game, in my opinion. And we are starting basically the skill. If you followed it, you know this is the top tier of the skill class. It's none other than Chill. Phenomenal champion, one of my rank 4. She's a decent dual threat in Battlegrounds. I have her at the high SIG because it's kind of just happened. She's also rank 4. I think I did put some stones into her. In this current crit meta, she's actually been kind of nice because we're getting so many invades, through the block. And with this signature ability, it's helping her out with the damage back, which has been cool and been helping me get around things. She's great. I'm not going to go on too long about this. I think she will be in this in the top 30. I think it would take a lot of skill champions coming out between now and then, and I do think that class needs it, as you're going to see from this top 30. All of these skill champions, they don't have a flaw. They just have a place where when I break this game down between questing, Battlegrounds, and war, they're maybe like Chilth is good in all of them. She's good in all of them. Kind of great in questing, to be honest. And then we'll move on to the number 19 champion, which is Nick Fury. You definitely want him awakened because that's what gives him that whole second life. Playing him at the 30% of the second life is those ridiculous results that you see. And I'll be putting out some shorts and things like that for you all to see what a rank 4 is doing at 150. It's ridiculous. It's a lot of fun. It's truly fun. And remember, he shuts off miss and evade with his tactical charges. He's so good as a dual threat in Battlegrounds. Defensive leaning, of course. I don't think he's going to be moving out of the top 30 just in 6 months. We'll keep our eye on it. But you got to play him at 30%. Like I said, all of these champions in skill, they're not imperfect. I think what it is there's just not a lot of science defenders that are asking for them yet, or maybe it just hasn't materialized because the new Titan is so new. And so maybe in a couple months, it'll be a bit more clear. Moving on to number 18 is what I'm calling the best skill champion in the game. I do think Crossbones is the most well-rounded out of all of them, particularly because of a variety of synergies. But in questions where I felt like he suffered a little bit, the best skill attacker for sure, in my opinion, in Battlegrounds. Great in war. But then also he's got this new synergy with Spider-Woman, who's also amazing. And that allows him to, I think, pause his Furies when his overrun is on cooldown with an intercept. That sounded way more complicated than it actually is. I'm looking forward to pulling Spider-Woman, being able to test that and play that myself, because he's great. He's a phenomenal champion. Shrugging, you don't need him awakened, but I will admit that awakening him does open up a whole level of fights you can take. I think it'd be really weird for him not to be here in December. He was the one skilled champion that I felt like maybe could have crept into the top 15. The other two, I don't think so, and I see how strong they are. The number 17 champion is none other than Count Nefarious. Science is so strong. They have a couple different groupings. He's on his own here. As I get his SIG going higher and higher, and I talked about this in the video I did on him, I think it opens him up in PvP Battlegrounds, basically, and war. Significantly better. In war, it wasn't as important because time doesn't matter quite the same way. Also, Kabam's been doing various power game metas over and over and over, and he's been a menace. And also, like, defense, is it possible to dex his specials? Because I don't seem to be able to do it, and it doesn't seem like anyone on my opponents are able to do it either. He's great. And even when you play him poorly, he just doesn't die. It's really, really cool, and I love it. He's a great, great champion. And I actually can see him moving up. He's someone... We've now reached the point where you told me, hey, dude, I don't know if they're the best champion in the game, but they're the best in their class. I'd be like, I believe you. It's how you're playing the game, and that makes sense to me. I think we're definitely in it's reasonable to argue these points, for sure, point in this tier list. And he's really cool. It was hard not to have him in the top 15. Like, as you guys know, I spend a lot of time thinking about these. I write the lists out multiple days in advance. And this top 30 has actually been sitting for a couple of weeks because it's really fun to do. And then the last champion we will talk about in this video is none other, and this one's weird for me, man. is America Chavez. She has been like my go-to for years. That's an America Chavez action figure. I loved the character coming into the game from a show she was in. I do hope she gets better in the MCU, and she's still phenomenal. So, like, I don't want to act like she's fallen. She's, oh God, she's trash here now. She's the number 16 best champion in the game, in my opinion. And she handles ability power, meaning the power the defender gets without being hit, right? Like no one else. Like Nefaria is encroaching in on it, to be honest, which is cool. Which is cool that they're diving into that space more. What it feels like to me and why this is happening is because the Cosmic Champions, they've got these safeguard mechanics and glancing and Serpent with this whole like second life that lasts for 5 hours, and like Dark Phoenix, who has a damage source that like almost no one is immune to unless you hit her 35 times or you fate seal it. And Chavez just doesn't have that. She's had her time in the sun as the queen, as the best mystic champion. Those days appear to be over. Maybe they will come back. That'll be due to defenders that Kabam puts out. We've had a lot of defenders in the Cosmic class lately, so I'm kind of hoping we get a little bit of a break, let that relationship mature between those classes for a while. They feel in pretty good spots as far as that's concerned. And number 16, it's not just the biggest, baddest meta defenders. It's also nodes, and she is the best at handling ability power rate in the game. In my opinion, Nefaria's giving her a run for her money. That was the honorable mentions, the top 16 through 30. As usual, let me know what we think I got right. Let me know what we think I got wrong. And make sure you hit like, hit subscribe, you tune in for the top 1 through 15. And then again, this will culminate in the monthly tier list between myself and the Illuminati. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.